Follow us on Twitter at ghettoplex_mp4, on Instagram at ghettoplex.mp4, and on YouTube at ghettoplex. Azrael. This is a difficult movie to talk about because it's confusing, but it shouldn't be because it's a movie with a story you've seen many times in many other films very similar to it. There's a cult, and we have our protagonist who needs to escape from the cult, but the cult captures our protagonist and brings them back to the commune. But somehow our protagonist gains the strength to fight back and defeat the cult. It's like one of those movies. However, okay, so in this movie, they can't speak because they are mutes. They're mutes against their will. Well, I'm sure some people it's against their will. There's others who volunteer for this removal of the vocal cords. I guess that's how it's like part of the cult doctrine. Speech is a sin. They communicate through whistles, which is weird because why wouldn't they just communicate through sign language? Why do they gotta whistle? If they can't speak, why would they whistle? Why would they even make a sound? So yeah, it seems like, sign language would have been a better alternative. Also, they would have been able to say a lot more to each other than just whistling at each other. I will say though, the film, half and half of it is shot really well. It really has this Resident Evil 4 vibe to it. So I did like the aesthetic of the film. It felt like if they made a Resident Evil 4, live action movie, if it was shot the way the good half of the film was shot, because there was also times where there was just too much shaky cam and for no reason. When they had that smooth, steady cam work, I could just see, a Resident Evil being shot in this manner, this aesthetic. But yeah, so it's not clear as to why it's a sin for them to talk. They kind of show you a bunch of different like scriptures, I guess you could call them, of their whatever, I guess, religious belief. And to be honest, all these scripture screens didn't really make sense to me. I was trying to like read them and keep up with the movie at the same time. And I think it's like they were trying to explain the motives of the cult through these scriptures. But because you kind of read it real fast and then you get back to the movie and you're trying to figure out the story, you kind of forget what those little scriptures were even saying. That's why I'm saying if they had the sign language as a communication factor, I think they could have gotten a lot more exposition communicated better to the audience so we can kind of keep up with what's going on, what's the purpose of this cult and their rivalry slash relationship to the demon crispy people, the crispy demons. I don't even know if they were demons. They were just like burnt crisp people, deep fried people, crunchy crispy chicken people. But anyways, yeah, so it's weird because they have, you know what, I'm gonna get into spoilers. And normally I would advise you to come back after you watch the movie, but the movie sucks, so you might as well just stick around for them. Anyways, the movie begins with these blood sacrifices that the cult members make to these crispy people. I'm just going to call them crispies. So these cult makes blood sacrifices to the crispies by sacrificing someone with their blood, because apparently these crispies, once they smell blood, they come out like a couple of sharks. They can smell the blood in the water. Well, for them, I guess they could smell the blood in the air. And it's not clear as to why they sacrifice random people to these crispies. And for some reason, they turn their backs. So they have the protagonist. I don't know what her name's supposed to be. They don't say it. So I'm just going to call her the protagonist. So they have the protagonist. They cut her open on her leg so that the scent of her blood can draw the crispies. But as she's bleeding, they turn their backs to her and they start breathing really weird, making loud breathing sounds. And as they're making their loud breathing sounds, this girl is managing to escape and uses a wooden handle to impale one of the cult members. So the crispy ends up eating him instead. And it's just like, okay, but why do you sacrifice? Why do you need to sacrifice to the crispies? Are you guys, is the cult providing for them? Do you have a relationship with these crispies that you need to provide for them in order for to guarantee your own safety? But also later in the film, they also fight with them. So it's like, are you guys fighting or are you guys providing them with human sacrifices? I don't understand. Anyways, we find out, where this little commune is, this tent city, and they have their own church and church ceremony, and you can tell obviously, okay, this is supposed to be a cult and this is the cult commune, but you don't really learn much more in the commune. They show you in the church some illustrations that I guess is supposed to clarify their religious beliefs, but it's not really clear to me what their belief is and what their relationship is with the Crispies. I was trying really hard to understand through these illustrations on the church walls, trying to get some kind of motive for their cult and their cultish relationship with the Crispy demons. There's also this old grandma lady character in the cult commune, and she looks like she's near death, and they're trying to either comfort her in her final days or they're trying to keep her alive. Again, it's not clear because they don't communicate with anything other than whistles. So it's like, what am I supposed to get out of the grandma lady here? Like, what's her story? What's her situation? Like, you can see there's a concern and they prioritize her well-being. There's also a pregnant woman. So, and she's primarily in the church next to these Virgin Mary looking paintings. So I'm assuming that the symbolism here is that she's supposed to be their version of the Virgin Mary or something like that. I don't know. It seems like that's what they were trying to do by showing her and then constantly going back and forth with the Virgin Mary pictures. And I don't know. It just didn't make no kind of sense. And our protagonist, she goes through all kinds of conflicts with these cult members and the Crispy demons. And she's so frail looking. And you could tell that the amount of damage she's been through, by the end of the movie, she just becomes Jane Wick and starts taking out the commune. They have guns too for some reason in this rapture world, this post-apocalyptic rapture world. They somehow have guns and plenty of ammunition so that later on we can set up Jane Wick to take out the town. But also we don't see her. There's no indication that she's some kind of badass marksman. She just becomes one for the sake of the plot, I guess, and kills basically everyone. It just comes out of left field. It's so weird. She's so helpless in the beginning, and then all of a sudden she just becomes badass killer. The setup just wasn't there for that. So when it happens, it feels like you bring in a brand new character. And it's like, okay, I guess. But yeah, I had no frame of reference as to what I was going to be getting into when I watched this movie. I only found out about it 2 days ago. My cousin, she sent me a text and was telling me, hey, I want to go watch this movie. It's about a girl trying to escape from a cult. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, sure, fuck it. So that was literally, I didn't even watch a trailer or nothing. I literally just went off on my cousin's word. And yeah, so that's how I ended up watching this movie. But yeah, so we have our pregnant Virgin Mary who gives birth to a goat. And there was some illustrations in the church, something about, like a goat or whatever. So I'm sure that was supposed to be symbolic of, I don't know, the devil or something. And these crispy demons, it seems like that was what they were waiting for. That was like their cue. They were like, oh, the demon baby. But like throughout no point of the film, it wasn't really clear as to, that's why I'm saying, were they supposed to have some kind of relationship with these demons where if they provide them sacrifices, they're cool? But then at the same time, they would fight them. So it's just, what was the relationship here between the humans and the demons, or whatever the hell they were? It was never clear what was going on. And by the time the movie finished, the couple in front of us, as the lights were turning on, they were getting up and we made eye contact with them. And the guy said, did you guys get any of that? Did any of that make sense to you? And me and my cousin just started laughing because we're like, no, we don't know what the fuck is going on. I feel like especially the way the movie ended too, it's just like, okay, I guess that's it then. So what was that all about? So we were just talking with this other couple, just trying to figure out what the hell was going on in the movie. And everyone else kind of just seemed to be laughing too, especially during specific scenes in the movie that were supposed to be conflicting, but it was just comical. I don't know. Guys, Azrael is definitely not worth watching in theaters. You just wait for it to come out in streaming. I'd say it's worth a watch, but it's not good. It was better than Never Let Go. So if I had to choose between those two movies, I would definitely watch Azrael again, but I have no idea what the hell I just watched. But the relationship between these characters and what their motives were, what the demons' motives were, it just wasn't clear. I have no idea what anyone wanted in this film other than the protagonist who just wanted to escape. What else? I don't know. Anyways, follow us on Twitter at ghettoplex_mp4, on Instagram at ghettoplex.mp4, and on YouTube at ghettoplex. See you guys in the next one.